Being happy doesn't mean you don't have issues. It just means that you're working on them.
Have y'all ever watched something that just completely changed your life? Whether it be a movie, a TV show, hell, even a YouTube video, the media we consume plays a huge part in our outlook of the world and ourselves. But how is it that a superhero show about a vigilante using a bow impacted me so much that I can confidently say that without it, I would be a drastically different person? Well, in this video, I'm going to be discussing how the television series Arrow has changed my life. And who knows, maybe this video will help to provide some perspective on your own. But one thing you all should get perspective on is this video's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. That's right, boys, if you're somehow not one of the approximately 8 billion people that have played Raid, it's a dark fantasy RPG that is not only one of the highest rated apps on the App Store, but also lives up to the hype. My favorite part of Raid is the team building aspect, and I'm definitely spoiled for choice as Raid has nearly 700 champions to choose from, and recently added a new faction called the Sylvan Watchers. This faction made their home in a huge jungle called the Mistwoods. But be careful, because if the beasts don't kill you there, the Sylvan probably will for trespassing. Personally, I'd rather have them on my side. I mean, they got hot elf archers, scary looking tree spirits, hot tree spirits, living rock monsters, literal hot spirits. Look, I don't have a problem. You do. Not to mention, Raid's got a ton of events this month, like Season 7 Forge Pass, events where you can earn anniversary points, various Valentine's Day activities, and much more. Use my link in the description or scan the QR code, and new players can get a free starter pack with some pretty solid in-game loot. And if you want to beef up your champion roster off the bat, you can get MMA pro wrestler Ronda Rousey by simply logging into Raid for 7 days before February 20th. And use the promo code RaidRonda, you get a bunch of useful in-game items to level her up. It's that simple, but I think you get the point. Once again, thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring in this video. Go show the game some love if you haven't already, and back to the video. Let's start with some context. Arrow follows the story of Oliver Queen, a spoiled rich kid who, after being shipwrecked on an island for 5 years, has returned home with one goal:
To use the list of names he left me and bring down those who are poisoning my city.
In order to do so, Oliver has to become a vigilante that the city calls the Hood. Over time, he has to deal with not just the corruption and a conspiracy that's linked to his father, but the people he left behind. Oliver has been gone for so long, everything is now different. His mother Moira has remarried, his sister Thea has become a young adult, and his best friend Tommy is now involved with his ex-girlfriend Laurel. Not to mention the obvious that everyone has matured or changed in some way, and it kind of throws a wrench into Oliver's plan, as now, in order to hide his night job, he has to adjust to these new dynamics, on top of hiding how much he himself has changed from everyone else. And this is one of the things Arrow puts a majority of its time into. The show dives deep into the concept of change, the circumstances that lead to it, how character dynamics can flip, and the consequences of fighting it. It's a huge theme in Season 1, and the journey of Oliver experiencing all this change at once is really engaging. I think what makes it interesting is not only the consistency and how each character is written, but the fact that even though Oliver himself has gone through this drastic change, he tries to keep the fact hidden from his loved ones. He sees that what he is doing as a vigilante could put his friends and family at risk, so he keeps this distance between them to keep them safe. He tries to pretend he's fallen back into his old party boy ways, and while the general public falls for it, which gives him a good alibi, the people close to him see right through the act. Even if it takes some longer than others, they all can tell that the Oliver that came home wasn't the same one that left. No matter how hard Oliver tries to push them away to keep his secret, Oliver's loved ones can tell that he has become more closed off. Hell, Thea's the first one to call him out on it.
You gotta let me in, Ollie. You gotta let someone in.
See, that's the funny thing about going through such a deep change. When you have this shift in your mindset, it isn't something you could hide. Everything from your mannerisms to the subtle ways you speak and the responses you give other people offer insight into the way you're thinking. And while regular Joe Schmo wouldn't be able to pick up on this, the people that know you would. That's what's so interesting about Oliver's development this season. While he accepts that he has fundamentally changed after his time on the island, when you go through a life-changing experience like that, it could create some underlying consequences. For Oliver, that's his isolation. He wants to tell the ones close to him the truth, but he believes that if he does, they'd see him as a monster. This thinking leads him to making several missteps at the start, the obvious one being his relationship with Helena Bertinelli, aka Huntress. For context, in episode 7, Oliver's mother Moira is shot by a gunman on a motorcycle. After a quick investigation, it turns out that Moira wasn't the target, rather her associate, who's also linked to the mob boss, Frank Bertinelli. Oliver tries to have a meeting with Bert and Ellie so he could stop the gunmen, but ends up having dinner with his daughter, Helena. It's revealed that Helena was actually the shooter, and she's on a mission to destroy her father's crime family to avenge her husband's death. The two realize that they both share this brokenness that draws them to each other. Yes, Helena's methods are a bit more extreme than Oliver's, but he believes he can steer her on the right path. However, it becomes painfully obvious that Helena is not looking for a better way, causing her to betray Oliver and flee Starling City. This mistake is a direct result of Oliver trying to avoid how the island changed him. For so long, he has missed his connection with his loved ones, but now that he can finally have that again, he believes he has to lie and keep them at a distance for them to be safe. In reality, Oliver longs for that connection again, and in looking for that, he's prone to justifying actions that would normally lead to a pointed conversation, if you catch my drift. And nowhere is this better displayed than looking at Moira Queen's involvement in the season. As a character, she ends up inheriting a lot of problems from her late husband Robert. For context, the main antagonist of the season, Malcolm Merlyn, has put together a group of the wealthiest people in Starling City to help stop the rampant crime problem. Robert was one of the members, and over time, this group tried their best to use their money and influence to bring down crime, with, unfortunately, very little effect. This especially hurts Malcolm, as this entire mission was in honor of his late wife, who died after getting mugged in the Glades, which is basically the poor part of the city. After seeing little to no change, Malcolm decides that the Glades cannot be saved, so sets a plan into motion that's meant to level the area. Robert is obviously opposed to this and plans to secretly undermine his plans. Unfortunately, this is what led to Malcolm sabotaging the boat that put Oliver on the island in the first place and killing Robert. Moira eventually takes up her late husband's position in this group as a way to try and protect Thea. Now, at first glance, it seems as if Moira is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Either not join Merlyn and put her last remaining family member at risk, or become a member of this group whose plan would kill thousands of people. She chose what she believed was the lesser of two evils, and eventually became complacent in Merlyn's actions. And here is a perfect example of one thing that will 10 times out of 10 halt your change and development in life. Fear. Fear is a powerful emotion that can actually be used as fuel to help push you towards positive change. However, it's a lot easier to use it as a reason to stop. Moira's fear of Malcolm stops her from doing anything to slow down his plans, and when she finally tries to and fails, her fear causes another man to die. Eventually, this brings the Hood knocking at her office, and here we have a standoff dictated by fear. Moira is scared for her life, but is even more scared of Malcolm to where she doesn't give any information. And Oliver is scared that his mother would be capable of committing such horrendous actions, and is practically looking for an excuse to go easy on her, which is soon given when Moira begs on behalf of her children, causing Oliver to let his guard down and gets shot. These characters were motivated by fear, and having their dynamics with each other changed, by being seen by or seeing their loved ones in a different light, and neither gained anything out of this first confrontation. So with all this laid out, there's a question that arises. How can we change? What can we do so we don't fall into the same trap that Oliver and Moira run into that causes them to slow down their growth at the start of the season? Well, let me try to explain. Let's say you want to get into better shape. You've tried this several times before, but hey, it's a new year and you say to yourself that this is going to be my year. So you watch countless workout and meal prep videos and you start off strong. Healthy food, consistent workout, you are killing it. But then you come home from work one day exhausted and you think, I could skip today, what's the harm? Then you skip 2, then 3. Before you know it, you're coming home just to get dunked on in Overwatch. But why is this? You know you need a change. You know why you should make this change. So what is missing? What is holding you back? Well, the answer is you. We are our worst enemies when wanting to change for the better. We will often find an excuse that either halts our progress or say, I can't do this because of such and such thing that's out of my control. However, the moment you take accountability for the part you play in your own lack of growth is when you can truly start to progress. Let me use a more personal example to hopefully better express this concept, and trust me, it all relates back to Arrow. Okay, so for as long as I can remember, I wanted to make YouTube videos.
Hey everybody, it's Random Boy 132 here.
The idea of being able to make someone's day through something I created was really captivating to me when I was younger, and over the years, I made hundreds of videos on several different channels until I made G.I.Gio. This was the first time I saw legitimate growth, and it was addicting. And then, lockdowns happened. Not only was this just when I was starting a new college, but you are putting someone with ADHD into virtual classes. Needless to say, I was miserable, and noticed that my little growth on my channel was just that, little. This only made me more depressed, and I thought I'd be screwed and amount to nothing more than a bum with a film degree who only chose that path in the first place because of YouTube. And then, everything clicked. I realized that the problem wasn't school or the YouTube algorithm not giving me the views I deserved. The problem was me. And in Arrow, there is a character who is the first to have this realization and ends up becoming one of the best characters in the Arrowverse. That character is Oliver's best friend.
What did I tell you? Yachts suck. Tommy Merlin.
Just like Oliver, Tommy used to be a reckless party boy, drinking, clubbing, getting with girls, the whole nine. The two were close friends ever since they were kids, and after Tommy's mom was killed and his father left for 5 months immediately following her death, Tommy saw the Queens as his real family.
From the outside, it always looked like I had a father. But your dad took me to my first hockey game. Your dad taught me how to fly fish. Your dad took us to our first R-rated movie. I meant what I said last night. I'm really glad that you're back.
And then, the Queen's ship sank. As far as Tommy was concerned, he just lost a brother and a father figure. He was, once again, alone. Until Laurel Lance came into the mix. You see, she was friends with both Tommy and Oliver for just as long, and she was there to provide Tommy with the love and comfort that he needs. She sees the best in him, and in turn, even after Oliver is found to be alive, Tommy realizes that his old lifestyle was holding him back. He wants something real with Laurel and takes steps to change himself for the better. He stops dating around to commit to Laurel. He helps Thea without a second thought of using it as a way to make himself look better. He saves Oliver from having his secret identity revealed. After his dad cuts him off financially, he swallows his pride and accepts a job with Oliver, and even later reconvenes with his dad. Tommy is consistently growing because he's identifying his personal shortcomings and proactively tries to change that part of himself.
I'm trying to change. Not sure into what yet, but I don't want to be what I was anymore.
Now, there is a moment where Tommy doesn't do any of this, and it's when he realizes that Oliver and Laurel are still in love with each other. And instead of addressing this insecurities or having a conversation, he leaves her. This puts Tommy at the lowest point he's been in the show. From this point onwards, we never see him smile or crack a joke, even after getting a better job and his money back. It isn't until after Tommy learns about his father's plan to level the Glades, to where we see the old Tommy again, in that moment of fear and pain, rather than trying to get himself to safety. He speeds across the city to save Laurel. He didn't care if she didn't love him, or that he may be always living in Oliver's shadow. But he knew that she had to survive this. And unfortunately, it was at the cost of his own life. But in that moment where Oliver is begging for Tommy to be okay, the two make amends. And we get to see one last smile. Almost every character in Arrow has this moment of self-reflection to where they realize that they're holding themselves back, and they take initiative to change that. We just talked about Tommy. What about Moira? Well, after another encounter with the vigilante, where it's revealed to Oliver her involvement with Malcolm and his plan, she tries her best to explain her situation to her son, but Oliver is having none of it.
Where are you going?
Somebody in this family needs to put an end to this.
This is where Moira realizes that while she thought she was protecting her kids, she was really just protecting herself from her kids judging her decisions. Oliver has inspired Moira to not just take accountability for her complacency, but also publicly warn the city about Malcolm's plan. While she does get arrested, she has saved hundreds of lives minimum and potentially saved her relationship with her family in the future. Finally, let's look back at Oliver. Throughout most of the first season, he believed that he has to fight this mission on his own. That is until we are introduced to the character of John Diggle. He becomes the first person that learns that Oliver is the Hood, and at first he wasn't on board with joining his crusade. However, after he does, Diggle constantly pushes Oliver to grow and redefine what he considers a hero. He is Oliver's tether to reality. He helps him keep his head on straight, and is not afraid to call him out.
Been home for 8 months, Oliver, but I don't think you left that island yet.
Characters like Diggle help Oliver to become more open to the idea of not having to face everything on his own. Eventually, Felicity joins the team, Oliver gets closer to Laurel, and it seems that his mission will come to a close once he stops Malcolm. But that's not how it goes. After confronting him on his own, Oliver gets beaten and captured. This is the second time he is lost to him. But why?
You can't beat me, Oliver. Yes, you're younger, and you're faster, yet you always seem to come up short against me. Because you don't know, in your heart, what you're fighting for.
And that is the missing piece. Yes, Oliver made more allies and has thought about opening up, but he never believed in the change himself. He's still stuck in the mindset to where he thinks it's his sole job to protect everyone. But once again, thanks to people like Laurel, always seeing the best in him, Moira finally standing up to Malcolm, and Diggle reminding him that he stopped being alone the moment he brought him and Felicity onto the team, everything started to click. Oliver now understands what he is fighting for, not just the city or to atone for his father's sins, but these new and renewed connections he has made since he has come back from hell. I don't think it's a coincidence that once he finally accepts this change and brings Diggle, that he beats Malcolm. Except, he doesn't fully.
If I've learned anything as a successful businessman, it's redundancy.
Yeah, the season ends with Oliver losing. Sure, he stopped Malcolm, but the damage has been done. Felicity was able to cut the damage in half, but it's still a devastating event. So, does that mean that all the growth our characters have gone through was meaningless? Well, the short answer is no, but the long answer may take some explanation that has a longer reach than Shaq. So, if you'll allow me to find extra meaning where there probably isn't any, I think that it's very important that Oliver doesn't win here. Not because of anything that he did, but simply because that's how life is. Even after growing so much to better yourself, there's still a chance life would screw you over. And at that point, you have a choice. Do you throw your hands up and give up because you didn't immediately get the results that you were looking for? Or are you going to use this failure as fuel to keep moving forward? For Oliver, the answer is simple. Survive and keep going. He will fight many threats throughout the show's run, but this failure was so important for his overall development, as after the fact, even with self-doubt, dealing with the loss of his best friend, his mother in jail, Oliver Queen will keep fighting, and if he ever loses his way, he has friends that will gladly set him straight. Arrow is a show about many things: redemption, managing our demons, and dealing with loss. But I always connected with how much importance the show puts on dealing with change. Whether you like it or not, life is going to keep moving forward. The people around you will grow and evolve, for better or for worse. So you're left with a choice. Do you hold yourself back and cling onto the familiar because it's safe? Or do you take that leap into the unknown and fight tooth and nail to become the best version of yourself? Finally, wrapping up the story that I started earlier in the video, I realized that I wasn't miserable because of my circumstances, but because I allowed myself to stay there. I never fully invested into my YouTube channel because I was always worried that if I failed, I'd be screwed. But I soon learned that I will never have a chance to grow if I always had one foot out the door. So I did what may be the scariest thing I've ever done. Tell my Puerto Rican father that I want to take a year off college and pursue YouTube when I only had a couple thousand subs. Yeah, I thought I was gonna die. However, after some back and forth, he agreed and supported my decision. And, well, look at the channel now. That year is when I made my Batwoman video, my Superman and Lois video, and several Flash videos that took off. All because I stopped holding myself back. I used my fear of failure as fuel to change my life for the better. Arrow has had such an impact on me as a person, not just because it started this universe that helped kick off my channel, but as cliche as it sounds, seeing Oliver always fight back no matter what the odds was inspiring to me. This show made me want to better myself, which opened the door to possibilities that I would have never dreamed of. And most importantly, holding myself accountable. My last video just got age restricted, which kills it in the algorithm. I can complain about how unfair it is for weeks at a time, or I can look at the card that I was dealt and figure out what's the best strategy to move forward. Arrow isn't a perfect show. Trust me, there are several times Oliver should have gotten shot. But it will always hold a special place in my heart, as it gave me the courage to take risks, to become a better person, to become someone else. and strive to become something else. Anyway, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comment section down below. What's something that you've seen or watched that just completely changed your life? Like the outlook on the world, something about yourself, something that had a huge impact on you guys. Yes, I know this video is very different than my normal one. Trust me, Angry Gio will be back. I mean, have you seen Velma? But I wanted to do something that a bit different, a bit more celebratory because, well, for one, we hit 25K. So thank you all for that. It's insane. We're so close to 100. Okay, not so close. We are very close to 100K. We are getting there. We're a quarter of the way there. That's a pretty big distance. If you're wondering, hey Gio, why are you recording stuff in the bathroom? Well, that's because at the time of me finishing this video, just so much stuff has happened. I have to deal with some family business out of state. So I'm currently staying in a place to where I will be recording in the bathroom. But yeah, no, once again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Kind of a more of a high top film, less Mueller and Madvocate kind of style video. But I hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. Let me know what kind of show or movie changed your guys' life in the comments down below. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like and the subscribe button. Also, hit the channel potential. Hit the same buttons. Anyway, my name is Gio. I gotta do some quick finishes with this stuff and get this up. So I'll talk to you all later. Peace.